Book 4, Part 1 of Troilus and Criseyde by Geoffrey Chaucer. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Kevin Johnson. Book 4, Incipit Prohemium Liber Quartus. But all too little wail away the wheela, lasteth sweet joy, ye think it be fortune, that sameth truest when she will be gila, and can to fullest so her song in tune, that she him hent and blaint traitor commune, and when a week is from her wail ye throwa, then lauketh she, and maketh him the mowa. From Troilus she gan her brigte face away to Rheda, and took of him non heda, but cast him clean out of his laddie grassa, and on her wail she set up Diomede, for which reek now min harte gineth bleda, and now me paina, alas, with which Eurita quacketh the dread of that mutendita. For how Criseyde Troilus forsook, or at the lasta, how that she was unkienda, mot henceforth been matter of my book, as written folk through which it is in menda, alas, that they should ever cause a fienda to spake her harm, and if they on her lee, ye wis himself should han the villainy. O ye Herenes, nictis doctrine three, that endelis complainen ever in pena, megera, elate, and eke the siphone, thou cruel Mars eke father to Quirine, this ilke fairth book me helpeth fina, so that the loss of lief and love ye fera of Troilus be fully shewed hera. Explicit Prohemium, Incipit Quartus Liber. Leaguing in oast, as they have said ere this, the Graecus strong about Troia town, befell that, when that Phoebus sheening is upon the breast of Hercules Leon, that Hector with full many a bowl bearon cast on a day with Graecus fortificta, as he was wont to grave him what he makta. Not e how long or short it was betweena, this purpose and that day they ficta menta, but on a day well armed, breeked and shena, Hector and many a worthy weekta outwenta, with spear in hand and bigger bowers benta, and in the herd, without a languid letta, her foeman in the feld anon him metta. The longe day with spears sharp ye grounda, with arrows, dartes, swordes, masses fella, they feeked and bringen horse and man to grounda, and with her axes out the braines quella. But in the last a shower, sooth for to tella, the folk of Troy himself and so misladen, that with the worse at necht homeward they fladen. At which a day was taken Antenor, magra Polydamas, or Monestio, Xantippe, Sarpedon, Polynestor, Polite, or eke the Troyan down Riphaeo, and other lassa folka, as Phoebuseo, so that for harm, that day the folk of Troy drayden to laze a great part of her joy. Of Priamus was Yeva at Greek requesta, a team of Trawa, and though they gone in traita, her prisoners to changen most and lasta, and for the surplus Yevan summas greata. This thing anon was couth in every strata, both in the sage, in town, and everywhere, and with the first it come to Calchas era. When Calchas knew this treatise should holda, in consistori among the Graecus, soon he gan in Thringa forth, with lord as olda, and set him there as he was wont to dona, and with a changed face him bade a bona, for love of God to do that reverence, to stint a noise, and gave him audience. Then saide he thus, Lo, Lord is mean, he was Troyan, as it is known out of Dreda, and, if that yaw remember eam Calchas, that elder first yav comfort to yar neda, and told a well how that ye shoulden speda, for Dreda lease thurug yaw shall in astounda, ben Troy ye brand, and baten down to grounda. And in what forma, or in what manner visa, this town to shenda, and all your lust to achieve, Ye han ere this well heard it me devise, this knowe ye, my lordes, as I leve, and for the Greekes wherein me so leve, I come myself in me propre person, to teach in this how yao was best to don. Having unto my treasure ne me rente, reek no resport, to respect of your ease, thus all my gold I lost, and to ya wente, winning in this yao, lordes, for to please. But all that loss ne doth me no disease, I vouchsafe as weasely have I joy, for yao too lays all that I have in Troy. Sav of a doctor that I laughed, alas, sleeping at home, when out of Troy I starte, O sterne, O cruel father that I was, how meek I have in that so harden harte, alas, I ne had I bracht her in her sharte, for sorrow of which I will not leave to morrow, but if ye lordes row upon my sorrow. For be that cause I say no teamer now here to deliver, I holden have me pace, but now or never, if that I like yao, I may here have reached sona doubteless. O help and grace among us all this priest, rue on this old caitiff in distress, sin I through yao have all this heaviness. Ye have now cocked and fettered in prison Trojans ye now, and if your will is bay, me child with one may have redemption, now for the love of God and of bounty, one of so fela, alas, so gave him may, what need were it this prayer for to werne, sin ye shall both a hand folk and town as yerne. On peril of me life ye shall not lie, Apollo hath me told it faithfully. Ye have eke found it be astronomy, be sort and be augury eke truly, and dare well say the team is fast to be, that fear and flambe on all the town shall spreade, and thus shall Troy turn to ashen data. For certain Phoebus and Neptunus both, that make in the walls of the town, been with the folk of Troy always so wroth, that they will bring it to confusion, wreaked in despite of King Laomedon, because he nulled up in him here, the town of Troy shall be set on fire. Telling his tale alway, this old grey, humble in speech and in his looking eke, the salted terrors from his ain tway full fast running down by either cheek, so long he gone of succour him by sake, that for to hail him of his sorrow, they gave him Antenor without a more. But who was glad he knocked but Calchas though, and of this thing full soon his nades laid, on him that shoulden for the treatise go, and him for Antenor full oft prayed, to bring in whom King Troilus and Criseyde, and when Priam his salvaguard sent, th' ambassadors to Troy straight they went. The cause ye told of her coming, the old Priam, the king, full soon in general, let hereupon his parliament to hold, of which the effect rehearsing now we shall. The ambassadors being answered for final, the exchange of prisoners and all this nada, him liketh well, and forth in they proceed. This Troilus was present in the plaza, when axed was for Antenor Criseyde, for which full soon changing gone his face, as he that with the wordes well make data. But natheless he no word to it saide, lest men should his affection espy. With man's heart he gan his sorrows three. And full of anguish and of grisly dread, abode what lordes wold unto it say, and if they wold grant, as God forbade, the exchange of her, then thought he things tway. First, how to save her honour, and what way he make the best the exchange of her withstande, full fast he cost how all this make the stande. Love him Mara, all praised to doen her bede, and rather die than she should go, but reason say to him on that other side, without a sound of her, nay do not so, lest for thy work she would be thy foe, and saying, that thurg the meddling is ye blowe, your brother love, there it was erstan knowe. For which he gan deliberen for the beste, that thou the Lord is wold that she wente, he wold lot him grant what him laiste, and tell his laddie first what that they mente, and one that she had said him her intente, that after will he worken also believe, though all the world again it will destrive. Ector, which that well the Grekes hearde, for Antenor how they wolde han Criseyde, gan it withstonde, and soberly answered. Sires, she nis no prisoner, he saide, I noot on jou, who that this charge laide, but on me part, ye may efsone him telle, we usen here no woman for to selle. The noise of people upstirte dan at ones, as brame as blas of straw ye set on fire. For infortunate wolde, for the nones, they scholden her confusion desire. Ector quod they, what ghost may jou inspire, this woman thus to shielde, and doen as lays Don Antenor, a wrong way now, ye chase. That is so wise, and eke so bold beron, and we ha nede to folk, as men may say, he is eke one, the greatest of this town. O Ector, lat thou fantasies bay, O King Priam, quod they, thus sagen way, that all our voice is to forgone Criseyde, and to deliveren Antenor they prayed. O Juvenal, Lord, true is the sentence, that little weten folk what is to yerne, that they ne find in her desire fonts. For cloud of error let him not discerne what best is, and lo, her ensample is yerne, his folk desire now deliverance of Antenor, that brought him to mischance. For he was after traitor to the town of Troy, alas, they quit him out to wrathe, O Nisa world lo, thy discretion, Criseyde, which that never did him scathe, shall now no longer in her bliss abathe, but Antenor he shall come home to town, and she shall out, though sidden here and hown. For which deliberate was by Parliament for Antenor to yielden out Criseyde, and it pronounced be the President, all they that Ector, nay, full ofte prayed, and finally what week did it withstayde, it was for naught, it most been and shoulde, for substance of the Parliament it wolde. Departed out of Parliament John, this Troilus without a word is mo, unto his chambre spade him fast alone. But if it were a man of his or two, the which he bade out faster for to go, because he wolde sleepen, as he saide, and hastily upon his bed him laide. And as in winter leves been bereft, each after other, till the tray be bare, so that there nis but bark and branch ye laft. Leith Troilus bereft of each welfare, ye bounden in the black a bark of cara, disposed woed out of his wit to braid, so sore him sat the changing of Criseyde. He risked him up, and every door he shette, and window eke, and though the sorrowful man upon his bed is seed adown him sette, for leek a deed image pale and wan, and in his breast the haped woe begone outbraced, and hate a werken in this wise in his woodnesse, as he shall jou devise. Richt as the wheel the bowl beginneth spring, now here, now there, ye darted to the hearte, and of his death roareth in complaining, richt so gan he about the chambre starte, smeeting his breast, aye with his face to smerte, his head to the wall, his body to the ground, full oft he swapped, himselven to confound. His ain woe for pity of his hearte, outstreamed as swift a well as tway, the heich sobbes of his sorrowous smarte his speech him refte, onath his might he say, O death alas, why nilt thou do me day? Accursed be the day which that nature shoop me to being a levis creature. But after, when the fury and the rage, which that his hearte twist and faster threste, by length of time somewhat gan assuage, upon his bed he laid him down to reste, but though be gone his terrors more outbraced, that wonder is the body may suffice to half his woe, which that I jou devise. Then said he thus, Fortune alas, the wheele, What have I done? What have I thus a guilt? How meetest thou for routh me begila? Is there no grass, and shall he thus be spilt? Shall dus Criseyde away, for that thou wilt? Alas! How mayest thou in thine harte fiende, to being to me thus cruel and unkiende? Have I thee not honoured all me lieve, as thou well wotst above the goddess alle? Why wilt thou me for joy thus deprive? O Troilus, what may men now thee calle, but wretch of wretches, out of honour falle into misery, in which ye will bewaile Criseyde, alas, till that they breathe me faile. Alas, fortune, if that me lief in joy displeased her unto thy foul envy, why ne hadst thou my father, king of Troy, bereft the lief, or doen my brethren die, or slain myself, that thus complain and cry, ye combre world, that may of nothing serve, but ever die, and never fully sterve. If that Criseyde alone were me laughed, nocht raucht I whither thou wouldest me stere, and here, alas, then hast thou me bereft, but evermore lo, this is the manere, to rave a week that most is to him dere, to brave in that the gareful violence, thus am I lost, there helpeth no defence. O very Lord of love, O God, alas, that knowest best mine heart and all me thought, what shall me sorrowful lief doen in this case, if I forgo that I so dare have balked? Sin ye Criseyde and me han fully brought into your grace, and both our heartes sailed, how may ye suffer, alas, it be repelled? What I may doen I shall, will I may dure on leave in torment and in cruel pain, this infortune or this disaventure, alone as I was born I wis complain, ne never will I seen it sheen or rain, but end I will, as Oedipe, in darknesse, my sorrowful life, and dien in distresse. O weary ghost, that errest to and fro, why knelt thou fleeing out of the woefulest body, that ever meeked on ground ago? O soul, lurking in this woe, Anesta, flee forth out of mine harte, and let it breste, and followe alwe Criseyde, thy lady dere, thy ricte place is now no longer here. O woeful aeant woe, sin your disport was all to sing Criseyde's aean breakte, what shall ye doen but for my discomfort, stonden for naught, and wepen out your siekte, since she is quaint, that want was jou to liekte. In vain for this forth have ye aeant way ye formed, sin your virtue is away. O me Criseyde, O lady sovereign, of thilke woeful soul that thus crieth, who shall now geben comfort to the pain? Alas, no weekt, but when mine heart dieth, me spirit, which that so unto jou hayeth, receive and grey, for that shall I jou serve, for thine no force is, though the body sterve. O ye lovers that hake upon the whale been set of fortune, in good aventure, God leve that ye fiend I love of stale, and long mote your lief in joy endure, but when ye comen by my sepulture, remembereth that your fallow resteth there, for I loved eke, though ye unworthy were. O olde, unwholesome, and misleaved man, calcus I mean, alas, what aileth thee to being a Greek, sin thou art born Troyan? O calcus, which that wilt my bane be, in cursed team was thou born for me, as world of blissful love for his joy, that I thee hadde were I wolde in Troy. 1,000 seekers, hotter than the glade, out of his breast each after other wente, madled with plaintes newe, his woe to fade, for which his woeful terrors never stente, and shortly so his paines him to rente, and wax so mat, that joy nor penance he feeleth none, but leeth forth in a trance. Pandare, which that in the Parliament had heard that every lord and burgess said, and how full granted was by un assent, for Antenor to yielden so Criseyde, gan well nech wood out of his wit to brede, so that for woe he nist what he meante, but in a rees to Troilus he went. A certain knecht that for the tema kept the chambre door, undid it him anon, and Pandaré that full tenderly wept, into the darke chambre as still as stone, toward the bed gan softly to goen, so confuse, that he niste what to say, for very woe his wit was nigh away. And with his chair and looking all to worn, for sorrow of this, and with his armes folden, he stood this woeful Troilus beforn, and on his pithouse face he gan beholden. But Lord, so often gan his heart a colden, seeing his friend in woe, whose heaviness his heart as slow as thought him for distress. This woeful week, this Troilus, that felt to his friend Pandara ye common him to say, gan as the snow again the sun melt, for which the sorrowful Pandare of pity gan for to weep as tenderly as hay, and spake less thus being these ilke tway, that neither meeked a word for sorrow say. But at the last this woeful Troilus, nae deed for smart, gan brasten out to roar, and with a sorrowful noise he said thus, among his sobbes and his seekes sore, Lo, Pandara, I am deed withouten more. Hast thou not heard at Parliament, he said, for Antenor how lost is my Criseyde? Thus Pandarus, full deed and pile of hew, full pithousely answered and said, Yes, as wisly were it false as it is true, that ye have heard, and wot all how it is. O mercy God, who would have trowed this? Who would have wend that, in so little a throw, fortune or joy would han overthrow? For in this world there is no creature, as to my doom, that ever saw ruin stronger than this, thurg cause or aventure, but who may all a show, or all divine, switch is this world, for thee thus define, ne trust no weak to finden in fortune a propriety, her jeftes being commune. But tell me this, why thou art now so mad to sorrow thus? Why liest thou in this wise, sin that desire all holy hast thou had, so that by recht it ought ye now suffice? But ye, that never felt in me service a friendly chair or looking of an yea, let me thus weep and wail till ye day. And over all this, as thou well wotst thyself, this town is full of laddies all about, and, to my doom, fairer than switch 12, as ever she was, shall ye find in some rout, yea, one or twa, withouten any doubt. For thee be glad, mine own dear brother, if she be lost, we shall recover another. What, God forbade alway that each plaisance, in oathing were, and in none other weekt. If one can sing, another can well dance. If this be goodly, she is glad and leekt, and this is far, and that can good reekt. Each for his virtue holden is for dere, both a heronor and falcon for brevera. And eke as reeds and seas, that was for wees, the newe love outchaseth oft the olde, und upon newe cause leith newe wies. Think eke, himself to sovereign arte holde, switch fear by process shall of kinde colde. For sin it is but casual plaisance, some cause shall put it out of remembrance. For all so sure as day cometh after night, the newe love, labor, or other woe, or else selde saying of a week, don old affections alla overgo, and for the part thou shalt have one of thou to abrig with the bitter pain of smarte. Absence of here shall drive her out of harte. These words said he for the nonnes alla, to help his friend, lest he for sorrow dade. For doubt at least, to doen his woe to falle, he raukt not what unthrift that he saide. But Troilus, that neck for sorrow dade, took little heed of all that ever he meant, one ere it heard, at the other out it went. But at the last answered and said, Friend, this leche craft, or hele thus to be, were well sitting, if that he were a fiend, to treason her that true is unto me. Ye pray God, let this consail never ye day, but do me rather starve an unwreaked terra, ere either do as thou me woldest lera. She that he serve he wis, whatso thou say, to whom mine heart in habit is by reekta, shall hand me holy hearers till that he day. For, Pandarus, sin he have troth her heeked, I will not be untrue for no weeked. But as for man, it will I leave and starve, and never other creature serve. And there thou sayest, thou shalt as fair a fiend as she, let be. Make no comparison to creature ye formed hilbe kinda. O leve Pandare, in conclusion, ye will not be of thine opinion, touching all this, for which ye they beseech ya. So hold thy peace, thou sleest me with thy speech. Thou biddest me I should love another, all freshly new, and let Criseyde go. It lieth not in me power, leve brother, and though he meekte, he would not do so. But canst thou play and rocket to and fro, nettle in, duck out, now this, now that, Pandara, now foul, falla here, for thee woe, that cara. Thou farest eke by me, thou Pandarus, as he that one a week is woe begone, he cometh to him apass, and saith reek thus, think not on smert, and thou shalt fail anon. Thou most me first transmuen in a stone, and rave me my passions alla, ere thou so likely do my woe to falla. The death may well out of me breast departa, they leave so long amid the sorrow mina, but fro my soul shall Criseyde's darta out nevermore, but down with Proserpina, when I am dead, I will go one in pina, and there I will eternally complain me woe, and how that twinned be we twain. Thou hast here mad an argument for fien, how that it should the lasse pain be Criseyde to forgone, for she was mean, and leaven ease and infelicity. Why gabbest thou, that saidest thus to me, that him is worse that is fro well ye throwa, than he had erst none of that well ye knowa? But tell me now, sin that thee thinketh so leek to change and so in love, I to and fro, why hast thou not done busily thy meekte, to change in her that doth thee all thy woe? Why nilt thou late a her fro thine heart to go? Why nilt thou love another lady sweete, that may thine heart Satan inquiete? If thou hast had in love a yet mischance, and canst it not out of thine heart drive, I, that lived in lust and in plaisance with her as much as creature on leave, how should thee that forget, and that so believe? O where hast thou been hid so long in mew, that canst so well and formally argue? Nay, nay, God wot, naught worth is all thy rede, for which, for what that ever may befall, withouten word as mo, I will be deed. O death, that in dere art of sorrows alla, come now, sin I so oft after thee calla, for silly is that death, so for to sain, that oft declaped cometh and endeth pain. Well wot I, will me lief was inquiet, ere thou me slowa, I would have yeven here, but now the coming is to me so sweete, that in this world I nothing so desire. O death, sin with the sorrow I am afeare, thou author do me anon in terra's branche, or with thee cold a stroke in hate a quench. Sin that thou sleest so fail and sundry wiese, against her will, unprayed day and night, do me at me request this service, deliver now the world, so dost thou reeked, of me that am the woefulest weak that ever was, for team is that I starve, sin in this world of reeked nacht may I serve. This Troilus and terrors gone distilla, as liquor out of alembic full fasta, and Pandarus gan hold his tongue still, and to the ground his aeon down he casta. But natheless thus thought he at the lasta, what, pardie, rather than me fellow day, yet shall he somewhat more unto him say. And Criseyde, friend, sin thou hast which distressa, and sin thee list mine arguments to blama, why nilt thyself in helpen doen redressa, and with the manhood laten all this grama, go ravish her, ne canst thou not verschama, and outher laat her out of town afara, or hold her still, and leave thy niece afara. Art thou in Troy, and hast non hardiment to talk a woman which that loveth thee, and wolde herself and being of thee nascent? Now is not this a niece vanity? Rise up anon, and let this waping be, and kith thou art a man, for in this hour he will be deed, where she shall blave an hour. To this answered him Troilus full softe, and said, Pardie, leve brother Dera, all this have I myself yet thought full oft, and more thing than thou devisest here. But we this thing is loft, thou shalt well hear, and when thou me hast given audience, thereafter mayst thou tell all thy sentence. First, sin thou woost this town hath all this were for ravishing of woman so by meeked, it shoulde not be suffred me to err, as it stot now, ne doen so great unwreaked. He should han also blam of every wheat. My father is grant, if that he so withstode, since she is changed, for the town is good. I have eke thought, so it were her assant, to aske her at my father of his grace, then thanke I this were her accusement, sin well I would I may her not perchance, for sin my father in so high a place as Parliament hath her exchange and sailed, he nil for me his latre be repealed. Yet dread I most her heart to perturbe with violence, if I do switch a gamma, for if I would it openly disturbe, it most been disclandre to her nama, and me were lever dead than her defama, as nolde God, but if I shoulde have her honour lever than me lief to sava. Thus am I lost, for aught that I can say, for certain is, sin that I am her knecht, I most her honour lever han than me in every case, as lover aught of reekt, thus am I with desire and reason tweaked, desire for to disturben her me reddeth, and reason nil not, so mine hearte dreadeth. Thus weeping that he could never cease, he said, Alas, how shall I wretche fare? For well fail I alway my love increase, and hope is lasse, and lass alway pandara. Increasen eke thy cause is sub me cara, so well away, why nil mine hearte breast, for as in love there is but little rest. Pandara answered, Friend, thou mayst for me doen as thee least, but had eke it so harte, and Dina start, she shoulde go with me, though all this town cried on this thing by note. I nolde set at all that noise a grote, for when men han well cried, then will they round, a wonder last, but neen neekt never in town. Devine not in raison so deep ne courteously, would help thyself anon, but is that other than thyself in wape? Anomaly sin ye twau been all un. Rise up, for be mean heed, she shall not goon, and rather be in lama alita I found, than serve her as a canat, without a wound. It is no sham unto yow, ne no vice, her to withholden, that ye loveth most. Parantur she micht holden thee for Nisa, to let her go thus to the Greek's oast. Thank eke fortune, as well thyself in wost, helpeth hardy man to his emprise, and waveth wretches for her cowardice. And thou thy lady wold a little her grave, thou shalt thy peace for well hereafter make. But as for me, certain I cannot leve, that she wold it as now for evil talk. We shoulde than for faired din hearte quack. Thank eke how Paris hath, that is the brother, a love, and why shalt thou not have another? And Troilus, o thing I dare thee swear, that if Criseyde, which that is thy lief, now loveth thee as well as thou dost hear, God help me so, she nill not take a grief, though thou do boat anoon in this mischief. And if she willneth fro thee for to passa, then is she false, so love her well the lasse. For thee tak harte and thank, reet as a knecht, thorg love is broken all day every law. Keith now somewhat thy courage and be meeked, have mercy on thyself for any awe. Let not this wretched woe thine hearte gnaw, but manly set the world on 6 and 7, and if thou die a martyr, go to heaven. I will myself be with thee at this dade, though geek and all me kin upon astound, shall in a strait as dogges liegen dead, thorough girt with many a weed and bloody wound. In every case he will a friend be found, and if thee list here sterven as a wretche, adieu, the devil spade him that it wretche. This Troilus gan with the word is quicken, and saide, Friend, grant mercy, each assent, but certainly thou mayst not me so breaken, ne pain noon ne may me so tormente, that for no cause it is not mean intent, at shorte wordes, though he dien shoulde, to ravish her, but if herself it wolde. We so many quod Pandarus, all this die, but tell me then, hast thou her will assayed, that sorrowest thus? And he answered, Nay. Whereof art thou, quod Pandora, then a maid, that know'st not that she will been evilly paid, to ravish her, since thou hast not been there, but if that love told it in thine ear. For thee rise up, as nocht ne were anoon, and wash thee fast, and to the king thou wende, or he may wondren whither thou art gone. Thou most with wisdom him and other blende, or upon cause he may after thee sende ere thou be war, and shortly, brother dear, be glad, and let me work in this matter. For he shall shape it so, that secretly thou shalt this nicht some team, in some manner, come spake with thy lady privily, and be her wordes eke, and be her chair, thou shalt full soon aperceive, and well heare, all her intent, and in this case the beste, and fare now well, for in this point ye reste. The swifte fame, which that false thing is ego reporteth, beak the thing is true, was thorough out Troy, ye fled with preste winges, from man to man, and mad his tale all knew, how Calchas doctor with her breekte hue, at Parliament, without a word is more, he granted was in change of Antenor. The which tale anoon reeked as Criseyde had heard, she, which that of her father raucht, as in this case, reeked nocht, ne one he dade, for busily to Jupiter besought, gave him mischance that this treatise brocht. But shortly, lest these tales sooth were, she durst at no week asken it for faire. As she that had her hearte and all her minde on Troilus he set so wonder faste, that all this world ne meeked her love unbinde, ne Troilus out of her hearte caste, she will been his, will that her lief may laste, on this she brenneth both in love and rede, so that she neeste what was best to rede. But as men seen in town and all about, that woman usen friendes to visit, so to Criseyde of woman come a rout for Pitau's joy, and wenden her delight, and with her tales dare ye nocht meet, these women which that in the city dwell, they set him down and said as he shall telle. Quod first that on, ye am glad truly, because of yow that shall your father see. Another said, ye wis, so nam not ye, for all too little hath she with us be. Quod though the threade, ye hope ye wis, that she shall bringen us the peace on every side, that when she goeth Almighty God her guide. Though wordes and though womanishy things, she heard him reeked, as though she then as were. For God it wot her heart on other thing is, although the body sat among him there, her advertence is alway elsewhere. For Troilus full fast her soule sought, withouten word, alway on him she thought. These a woman that thus wenden here to please, about a nocht gone all her talas spende, swich vanity ne can doen here non ease, as she that all this mena wheela, brenda of other passion than that they wende, so that she felt almost her heart a day for woe, and weary of that company. For which no langer meeked she restrain her terrors, so they gonen up to wella, that yaven signes of the bitter pain in which her spirit was, and most a dwella, remembering here, fro heaven unto which hella she fallen was, sith she forgot the seeked of Troilus, and sorrowfully she seeked. And thilke follis sitting here about wenden, that she wept and seeked sore, because that she should out of that rout departe, and never play with him more. And they that had eke known her of yore, say her so weep, and thought it kindness, and each of them wept eke for her distress. And busily they gone in her comforten, of thing God wot, on which she little thought, and with her talas wenden her disporten, and to be glad they often her besought, but switchen aise therewith they her raught, reeked as a man is aised for to faila, for ach of heed, to claw him on his hala. But after all this nice vanity, they took her leave, and whom they went in all, Criseyde, full of sorrowful pity, into her chambre upwent out of the halla, and on her bed she gan for deed to fall, in purpose never thennes or to rise, and thus she raucht, as he shall yow devise. But ounded here, that sonnish was of hue, she rente, and eke her fingers long and small she wrong full oft, and bad God on her row, and with the deeth to gon both on her balla. Her hue we long breeked, that though was palla, but a witness of her woe and her constraint, and thus she spake, sobbing in her complaint. Alas, quod she, out of this region woeful wretche and infortunate weeked, and born in cursed constellation, mort goon, and thus departen fro me kneeked. Woe worth, alas, that ilke day is leaked, on which ye saw him first with and twain, that causeth me, and him, all this pain. Therewith the terrors from her and woe down fill, as shower in April full sweetha, her wheate breast she bate, and for the woe after the deeth she cried 1,000 seeth, sin he that want her woe was for to leave. She mote forgoen, for which disaventure she held herself a forlost creature. She saide, how shall he doen, and also, how should he live, if that he from him twin, o dare hearte eke that ye love so, who shall that sorrowous lean that ye been in, o calcus father, thine be all this sin, o mother mean that claped were argiva, woe worth that day that thou may bear on leave. To what fin should ye leave and sorrowen thus? How should the fish without a water dure? What is Criseyde worth from Troilus? How should the plant or leaves creature live without his kinde nourriture? For which will oft a be-word hear he say, that rotalis mort green soon a day. He shall don thus, sin neither swerd ne dart, therein non handle, for the cruelty, that ilke day that ye from yow depart. If sorrow of that nil not me banna be, then shall no mate or drink come in May, till ye me soul out of my breast unshath, and thus me selven worley do to death. And Troilus me clothes every chon shall black a bean, in tokening hearte sweete, that e'm as out of this world agone, that want was yow to Satan in quiet, and of mine ordre I till death me mate, the observance ever in your absence, shall sorrow been, complaint and obstinance. Mine hearte and eke the woeful goose therein, bequeath ye, with your spirit to complain, eternally, for they shall never twin, for though in earth ye twinned be we twain, yet in the feld of pity, out of pain, that heeked Ilyssos, shall we be ni fairer, as Orpheus and Eurydice his fairer. Thus harte mean for Antenor, alas, he soon shall be changed as he wane. But how shall ye doen in the sorrowful case? How shall your tendre harte this sustaine? But harte mean for yet the sorrow entain, and me also, for soothly for to say, so ye well fare, ye reche not today. How meek did ever ye read bane or ye songe, the plaint that she mad in her distresse? Ye knew but as for me, my little tongue, if ye descriven wold her heaviness, it shoulde mak her sorrow seem less than that it was, and childishly deface her hague complaint, and therefore ye it pass. End of Book 4, Part 1. Recording by Kevin Johnson.